Alright, so real quick, just going to go through 5 of the probably most common and best upgrades, in my opinion, for the Glock. Now these upgrades I don't necessarily recommend if you're going to be carrying the weapon for concealed purposes, at least not all of them. For instance, the extended mag release and the extended slide release, slide lock lever. The reason being is because they're extended, they're easier to use, but they're also more prone to snagging. We'll go through that. Anyways, first thing I'm going to do, unload the weapon, make sure it's clear. Point in a safe direction, fire. First thing I'm going to go through is the 3.5 pound trigger, which obviously I can't show you without disassembling the weapon completely. But the 3.5 pound trigger is it's actually just the connector that replaces the factory connector. It's just a little metal bar, and it gives a lighter pull on the trigger when you're squeezing. So there are some more expensive versions. If you want to get one that has like a over travel protector in it, you can. But this is just the $25 connector that I changed out in here. So it works nicely, and you can tell the difference. It's really hard to tell the difference just pulling the trigger on its own, but if you have another Glock and you can compare the two, you can definitely feel the difference. The factory 5.5 pound trigger is a lot harder of a pull on it. So anyways, that's the first thing. The lighter trigger, obviously it makes it easier to squeeze, which it probably gives less pull on the weapon when you're firing, so it builds in a little more accuracy for you. Second thing we'll discuss is the stainless guide rod. This is probably one of the better upgrades in my opinion. This is the stainless guide rod I have in here, and here's the factory one. Factory one is made out of plastic. Now, as well as the Glock is made, there have been some issues. And out of all the issues that most firearms have, this is really the only one that I've seen consistently, well, not even really consistently, but that I've seen more than once with the Glock, is that the part that sits on the ramp inside here on the barrel, the plastic one, you can see how it, see if I can get it to focus here. You see how the bottom lip sits there on the barrel. The plastic one I've seen actually break. The plastic piece in that same area right in here, I've seen it chip and break because remember, most of the energy from the weapon is going into the spring here. So having a plastic spring, you can see this one has bend and flex to it. This one doesn't. Stainless steel, it's not moving anywhere. That does a couple things. The weight of this actually weighs down the front end of the pistol a little bit, not a lot, but enough to help reduce muzzle recoil. And it also helps you keep your weapon when firing, give more consistent shots after your first shot. Follow-up shots are a little bit easier with the stainless. Helps you stay on focus a little more. So there's that. You can also get a tungsten, which is even a heavier duty guide rod. It costs a little bit more, but it weighs, I think, twice as much as the stainless steel, and the stainless steel one weighs 3 times as much as the factory polymer plastic guide rod. So there's that. I do have a custom barrel in here too, but that's not a required upgrade in my opinion. If you get into competition shooting or want to do some more expensive upgrades on your Glock, then it's not a bad one. Mine's made by KKM Precision. Anyway, so moving on. Next thing is the slide release lever, or slide lock release lever. People call it different things. It's basically when you're firing your weapon, you fire your last round, the magazine actually pushes up a little lever in here, and it locks the pistol back to let you know that you're out of rounds. What you do, stick your magazine back in and hit your slide release lever here, and the slide moves back to the forward position. The original factory slide release is a lot more of it's a lot flatter looking than the extended one. You can see here on the Glock 26, this has the factory one in there still. It doesn't protrude from the weapon at all. Now that's good for concealed carry purposes because you don't have to worry about it snagging on anything. It's very low profile. But for recreational shooting and even home defense, it's a little bit tricky. Your thumb can slip on it. If you have gloves, it's almost impossible to hit. So what this one does is it actually protrudes from the weapon. Not a lot, just a little bit, and it's still pretty smooth. It's got smooth edges on it, and it allows you a little bit more of a platform to flick down the slide release. So next one is the magazine release. You can see here, this is the extended one. It sticks out pretty far from the weapon, makes it a lot easier to hit the mag release. Now the Gen 4, they've improved it a little bit by making it larger, but it still doesn't stick out from the weapon. So you can see it's still flat, with pretty much flat with the surface of the weapon. It sticks out just a hair, but not a lot. And the factory ones that came on the Gen 3s were the same size as this, only they didn't protrude at all. So most people, when firing, had to change their grip, hit the mag release, and then go back to their shooting grip. With this one, you can see I don't have to change grip. I can hit it in and release the magazine with my regular firing grip. So here's my firing grip, magazine release, no problem. So that's that. All right, lastly here we're going to talk about the night sights. This is probably the #1 upgrade I'd put on your Glock if it doesn't have it already, is night sights. On the left here I have the tritium night sights made by Trijicon. It's a good night sight, but you'll see in daytime use there's not really any effect to it. It's just a white dot. So if you're looking for kind of the factory look and you prefer the white dot sights that come on the factory Glock, then these might not be bad. You can see they just kind of have a painted white ring around them. And one thing I'm not a huge fan is the front sight post is really square on the front and on the back, and even the rear sight post. You can see it has a lot of corners on it. So the True Glows actually they're made a little better, I think. The front has more of a beveled front end to it, and the rear sight post is all smooth on the backs and stuff. Only corners are inside here, which aren't really ever going to be caught on anything. You'll see these use fiber optic, so in daytime use they light up really well. And at nighttime they light up just as well. So these sights are my preferred sights. I'll probably end up putting these on my Glock 17 also, just because it's an all-around better sight. I think they're about the same price. It might be $10 more than the Trijicon sights, but my recommendation is the True Glow sight because it has daytime use and nighttime use functionality.